Welcome back to the Camping Loop. Today we're talking privacy in your RV bedroom, or should I say lack thereof, especially if you own one of these Coleman 17Bs or really any other budget-friendly small travel trailer. Now listen guys, I get it. The fact that you can sleep 5 or 6 people in here, it has a set of bunks, it weighs under 3,000 pounds, so it can basically be towed by anything. And the fact that it's still, after 5 years, the cheapest entry-level travel trailer you can get makes these Coleman 17Bs a really popular choice. But what about the privacy inside? Well, today we're going to fix that, and we're going to fix it really cheap. I'll be damned if the wife wasn't flipping through the old Pinterest the other night on the scrolling device. And let me tell you a couple things I've learned over the years. First thing that I know is when your wife wants something done to the RV, you guys get it done. Guess what? It's called marriage, and you're going to learn that lesson soon. Another thing that I know is there's basically 2 ways to do this. First way, go out and buy yourself an expensive tension rod, fancy curtains, the hardware, the whole 9 yards. Drill a bunch of holes in here and get everything to fit permanently. But we're not going to do any of that. We're going to do this a little bit unconventional with cheap materials, stuff we got laying around, curtains we've already used. Come on inside and let me show you guys what I'm talking about. Alright guys, so a couple reasons why I'm thinking this is, number one, don't want to do anything permanent. These campers are already a tight space, as you know if you own one, and most of the time it's just Wendy and I really just don't want to put anything here that's, you know, permanently up, I guess you'd say. Second reason, I don't want any more holes in the ceiling or the walls. We've screwed enough in there for hanging things up. I got a couple hooks on here now that we've put up. You know, a guy can hang his hat, or Wendy likes to put her sweatshirt there, or towel, or whatever the case may be, that we installed a couple years ago. We are actually going to utilize these 2 hooks, and I'll show you what I'm talking about in just a second. Now you might be thinking, well, why don't you just use a tension rod? And the truth of the matter is, we tried to do this when we first got this Coleman 17B, and the tension rod, it frankly just didn't work out. The curtains were a little bit too heavy, and I know this is going to be really hard for you guys to see, but ended up causing a bit of damage right here, where the wall is actually pushed in and it's ripped away a little bit of that wallpaper. And again, I'm just thinking to myself, we already got the hooks. Let's utilize what we got. Let's kind of keep this cheap and use the materials that we already have on hand. I know if you've seen in some of our previous videos the back bunkhouse curtains that we have installed, and we've gotten a lot of questions on those, how we've done it and things like that. There is a video down in the description below for you guys to check out if that was something you guys were willing to tackle. A little bit more of a permanent installation. At least we got to keep the bars up there all the time, which isn't an issue. They roll down the road good. They don't fall or anything like that. But again, up front here, let's just keep it not permanent. That way, when just Wendy and I are in the camper, we can have this opened up and everything will store away nice down here in the bottom cubby. So here's what we came up with. I know, a little unconventional. This is an extension pole, I guess you'd call it. Something you'd use for either a broom handle or a brush or something, whatever, I guess. Picked it up at Home Depot a few years back. Gonna work perfect because it's got the holes here. Set that right on the hook. And then this side that's broken off, that'll actually sit right in there nice and level. And then anytime we don't want to use it, we simply close it, put it in the storage compartment. Here's the deal though. It's ugly. It's silver, it's blue, doesn't look anything like a tension rod. Figure if we open it up to where we need it, I got it marked here on the pole already. We're going to go ahead and just refresh it a little bit. A little cheap paint. I know it doesn't have the ends on it, but we don't want a silver and blue pole. If I can get the cap off, child-proof. Go ahead and spritz this thing up a little bit and go from there. You know, another reason you might want to do this, I don't know, maybe your kid's got smelly feet, or you're an AC hog. I know mine are always complaining I got it cranked in there and they're freezing in the bunks. So this curtain might help trap some of that cold air in there up front for me and keep it a little warmer in the back. Maybe you guys have 2 kids in the bunkhouse already and you and your wife are trying to make a 3rd. I have no idea why you guys would want to do this. I can tell you that our youngest child that we own, 12 years old, is having a friend come this week, and I'm just thinking to myself, Do they really need to be hanging out in the bunkhouse, staring at their dad sleeping at 10, 11 o'clock at night? Let's get a little bit of privacy on here. Give them a little bit of privacy in the back. Everybody will be happy. Let me go ahead and get this finished spritz up here. We're going to let it dry a little bit. And I'll show you guys inside what the next steps are. Now, as far as the actual curtains that we're going to be using, these are just, I don't know anything about them. Panels, I guess you call them. Don't know how to sew, don't know how to hem, don't know how to stitch, don't know how to do any of that stuff. Wendy took care of that. We did take some measurements from floor to ceiling. She cut them, hemmed them, did all the 9 yards as far as that's concerned. And these are just panels that we had laying around the house. They somewhat go with the decor. It looks like an old mafia suit from the 90s, so let's roll with it. The other thing she did, because again, I have no idea how to use a sewing machine, is put these little, I'm sure it's hard for you guys to see, little Velcro tabs on this side and the sticky part on the other curtains. That way when they are up here, we can shut them and it'll hold them together. Just thinking that might work better. Got our extension pole in here. Looks a little bit more like a curtain rod now, right? Should be able to hide it enough behind these things. And really, it's pretty straightforward from here. We're going to just go ahead and kind of get a rough estimate as far as what we got to have open. Right about there seems right. Be careful not to scrape anything up when you guys are pulling it back down. I got all my curtains ready to go here, or panels, whatever we're calling them. Let's go ahead and start feeding those on one by one. The only thing, like I said, make sure that the dots are going to line up for you guys. That way you do have a way to close them if you want a little more privacy and do some humping. So give me just a second here. Let me get these fed on. This is probably the most frustrating, time-consuming part. I'm no good at this kind of stuff. This is usually Wendy's job, but like I said, she kind of recruited me for this one, and good news is we're saving a bunch of money. So again, I'm sure it's hard for you guys to see, but we got all the panels slid onto the rod. Now that's all that's left to do is hook the one end, open end up here, and the end with the handle over onto this one. Let me set you guys down over here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Whoa, losing everything. I mean, look at this. Is somebody sleeping in there? You'd never know. So again, the rod, as we like to call it, sits right in there. No problems, locked right in there nice, not going anywhere. And over on this side, I know it's hard to see, it's dark. It's locked right into the handle there. And honestly, if you want to leave your rod up all day, grab yourself a rope, kind of tie everything back here, and you got easy access to the bed still. Again, guys, what's nice about these is if you're not using them, everything's going to be able to store real nice and easy down in this cabinet or cubby, whatever you want to call it, under bed storage here. And I mean, look at that. Really, what do we got? $15, $20, $25, something like that into it? Nice little solution for privacy. Now with this simple, easy, cheap hack anybody can do, RV bedroom privacy is a thing of the past. Make sure you guys check out the videos down below for all sorts of tips and tricks and hacks and things you can use on your Coleman 17Bs. And when you're there, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. As always, we appreciate you guys watching, and we will see you next week.